The United States sending U.S. troops to Israel. A U.S. defense official tells CNN that about 100 troops are deploying there to operate one of the United States' most advanced missile defense systems. The Pentagon's announcement comes as Israel faces unprecedented attacks from Iran.
What we're seeing is a massive increase in the number of missiles and drones that Hezbollah is firing into Israel. The first 10 months of this war, they were firing anywhere from 30 to 50 per day. Over the last 3 days, they fired somewhere around 300 per day. This is the best system in the world, and there's only 6 of them, 6 batteries of these in the United States inventory. So loaning one and deploying a group of soldiers to Israel is a pretty big deal.
Just yesterday, a Hezbollah drone entering into Israel's airspace without triggering an alert killed 4 soldiers, injured more than 60 people. The attack was one of the bloodiest against Israel since the war began over a year ago. Joining us now with more, CNN Global Affairs analyst Kim Dozier. Kim, good morning. Always grateful to have you. So help us understand what this system adds to the defenses that the Israelis already have, and how concerned potentially Americans should be about U.S. troops deploying there.
It adds another layer of air defense in that what it does is it knocks ballistic missiles, mid-range and long-range, out of the sky. With Iran in its last volley of missiles it fired at Israel, it switched up to mostly ballistic missiles. This will counteract that, or help counteract that. So it's a look ahead to what might happen after Israel does some sort of retaliation against Iran's last volley of ballistic missiles. But it does put roughly 95 to 100 troops on the ground in Israel, which the U.S. hasn't done before. And it's also a signal to people in the Middle East and really throughout the world that while Israel is stepping up its attacks in Lebanon, in Gaza, that the U.S. is making statements about that, but then acting by sending this missile defense system. It's tacit approval of everything Israel is doing. At least that's how it will be seen by many in the Arab world.
So you see this as, I mean, it does seem to be a distinction between this is something that is designed to defend Israel from attacks, right? As opposed to, I mean, one of the major criticisms certainly the left has for politicians here is providing the bombs that are falling on Gaza. How does the Biden administration separate these two things, if at all?
Well, the important thing is that what it does is by protecting Israel, the U.S. is hoping to keep Israel from stepping up to the next kind of response. By sending this now, before Israel has responded to Iran's last volley of ballistic missiles, it's saying, we will be here to protect you. You don't have to do as big a strike as you may be planning on Iran, on all of their ballistic missile sites, because we're going to provide another way to protect your population from this.
Really interesting. All right, Kim Dozier for us this morning. Kim, thank you very much for being here.
The U.S. announced Sunday it will send an advanced anti-missile system to Israel to help bolster the country's air defenses, along with about 100 U.S. troops to operate it. It comes as the aerospace commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps says his country is ready to respond to any action or, quote, misstep by Israel. CNN political and national security analyst David Sanger explains the significance of the Pentagon's announcement.
I think what else we're learning here is that the president's tolerance for having American troops in the way here, even in defensive positions in Israel, is increasing a little bit. That he thinks it's a relatively small risk to have 100 Americans there. Obviously, there are thousands of Americans on board the ships and in nearby bases to try to help defend Israel as well.
Well, Israeli officials say Hezbollah launched a drone attack on Sunday, killing at least 4 soldiers and wounding more than 60 people. It's one of the bloodiest attacks on Israeli soil since the war broke out last year. The drones targeted an army base about 40 miles from the Lebanese border. The IDF says it will investigate why the attack didn't trigger an alarm. Hezbollah called the retaliation for Israeli strikes on Lebanon on Thursday, which continued into the weekend. Lebanese health officials say Israeli strikes on Saturday killed 51 people and wounded more than 170 others. And while concerns continue over a wider conflict, Israeli strikes on targets in Gaza go on. This was the scene inside the Al-Aqsa hospital courtyard early Monday, where 4 people were killed and dozens wounded. Tents were in flames, with people trying unsuccessfully to put out the fires. The Israeli military says it conducted a precise strike on a Hamas command center inside the compound. And we have to warn you that the video we're about to show you is disturbing. On Sunday, more than 40 people, at least 13 children, were killed in another Gaza strike, according to hospital officials. At least 22 were killed when the Al-Mufti school in the Nuseirat refugee camp was hit. But remarkably, today, in the middle of all this destruction, the UN is set to begin the second phase of its emergency polio vaccination campaign. The World Health Organization hopes to provide more than 500,000 doses of the vaccine after a successful first round in September, when 95% of eligible children were inoculated. Well, joining me now to discuss all of this is CNN's Nada Bashir. Nada, a lot of important points to get through here, but I just want to start first with the increased military presence that the US announced they were sending on Sunday. Troops on the ground, also a deployment of this advanced anti-missile system to Israel. Talk to us a bit more about the significance of this decision at this time when Israel is weighing and preparing for a response militarily to Iran.
Well, look, Christina, we know that the Biden administration has been in close contact and coordination with counterparts in Israel. The tone from the White House is one of de-escalation. They want the response by Israel to be proportional in order to prevent this from spiraling out of control into an even more broader regional war than what we have already seen escalating in parts of Lebanon and Syria, of course. But clearly, what we've been also hearing from the Biden administration is that continued steadfast support for the state of Israel, and this support in the form of air defense system support and, of course, US troops as well to operate them comes amid those mounting tensions, amid concern that there could be yet a further response from the Iranian regime targeting Israeli territory if indeed we do see an attack by Israel targeting Iranian territory. Now, this specific defense system is focused on defending against ballistic missiles. The hope would be that this would support Israel in its defense against any future attacks from the Iranian regime. And of course, we have been hearing from Iranian officials suggesting that that attack, that response could well be likely if indeed we do see Israel taking action. Take a listen to this statement from the Iranian foreign minister.
We are prepared for any kind of circumstances. We are ready for war, but we are also ready for peace. This is the definitive stance of the Islamic Republic. We are entirely ready for a military conflict. We are not afraid of war, but we do not wish for war. We want peace, and we will seek a just peace in Lebanon and Gaza.
Now, of course, the Israeli government and cabinet has not yet come to a conclusive decision as to what that response by Israel will look like with regards to retaliation for Iran's attack on Israeli territory on October 1st. Again, the Biden administration has been calling for the response to be proportional. They do not want to see Israel targeting Iran's nuclear facilities or oil fields. That is certainly a huge concern, with the potential for that to trigger an even broader war in the region, particularly with regards to Iran's regional proxies. And we've already seen the effect of the broadening of the conflict in Gaza, in Lebanon, in Syria, with disastrous impact for civilians there as well.